The scent of red sandalwood, the warmth of ambergris, and that forever straight spine. This was the image Gujin left in many people's memories. But who could have imagined that the fall of this most honored woman in the palace would not come through a violent coup, nor through the bleak sorrow of a white silk noose, but through one thin imperial edict and the ruthless backs of her two sons walking away. Gujin's downfall was not simply because she lost to Mo Xiu Yao and Ye Li, that seemingly unstoppable couple. More accurately, she was pushed into an abyss of no return by the two sons she had raised with her own hands, Mo Yanqi and Mo Jing Li. The first cut came from Marquis Muyang. Gujin's power was like a tower suspended in the air, and its foundation was Marquis Muyang's faction in the outer court, a group of military men who held real command over soldiers. Mo Xiu Yao was ruthless, but he also knew that direct confrontation would put him at a disadvantage. So he played a perfect game of division. Without revealing his hand, he carefully placed the evidence from the Huaishi military equipment case before Gujin. That morning, when eunuch Xunxi led the officers and soldiers to kick open the gates of the Liu residence, the thunderous crash did not only sound the death knell for Liu Cheng. It also struck the first crack in the trust between Gujin and Marquis Muyang. Liu Cheng belonged to the Bureau of Astrology, the very pen Gujin used to control public opinion. But when Mo Xiu Yao exposed evidence that Marquis Muyang had secretly forged military equipment accounts and might even have colluded with Songbei, Gujin could no longer sit still. Inside Onqing Palace, she questioned Marquis Muyang, her voice so cold it felt chilling even from beyond the screen. She asked whether Yuan Fong had been killed by him. She said his Zhou family had deep-rooted influence in Huaishi, that his men had forced their way into the capital magistrate's office to seize case files, and that it was only natural for Gong Shuyang to suspect him. Listen to that. Was that a queen mother speaking to her subject? No. It was clearly a hunter interrogating her prey. Immediately afterward, Marquis Muyang's 4 capable subordinates were destroyed one after another. Liu Chongfu was burned to death in Mingda Hall Square. Liu Ji died miserably inside a chest stuffed full of jewels. Chen Fenyuan was stabbed to death with a hairpin in a brothel. This chain of bloody cases completely severed Marquis Muyang's limbs. Watching this part, only one thought came to mind. Gujin, you were cutting off your own arm. The moment she began doubting Marquis Muyang's loyalty, the moment she had no choice but to separate herself from him in order to protect herself, she had already fallen into the trap Mo Xiu Yao had dug for her. She thought that throwing away Marquis Muyang like a bone would be enough to preserve herself. But she did not understand that a tiger without claws and fangs was worth less than a cat inside the deep palace. The second cut came from Qinzheng. If Marquis Muyang was Gujin's framework, then Dowager Consort Qinzheng was definitely the softest piece of flesh in her heart. Yet Ye Li's identity as a descendant of Lishan was like a precise surgical blade, stabbing straight into Gujin's heart. Ye Li's method of turning Qinzheng against her was truly a way of killing the heart before killing the person. She did not threaten Qinzheng or tempt her with profit. Instead, she gave Qinzheng hope. In the Chongsheng prescription, Yi Wenxin brought up the late Master Zhou Xingkuen and used a prophecy, claiming that only a descendant of Lishan could resolve the disaster, to stir up Qinzheng's fear of the future and her concern over the bloodline she desperately wanted to protect. Then, at the back mountain, Yi Li used steam and reflected light to create a sky filled with rosy clouds, making Qinzheng believe that Yi Li was the savior chosen by fate. Do you understand how ruthless that was? Gujin had entrusted Qinzheng with a blank appointment document bearing Gong Shu Yang's seal. That was one of the trump cards she used to control the court. But when Qinzheng chose to hand that document to Yi Li in order to preserve the bloodline, Gujin became completely blind and deaf inside the inner palace. Gujin probably never dreamed that the sister she trusted most would stab her in the back like this. The feeling of being cut down by one of your own is 10,000 times more painful than being attacked openly by an enemy. At that moment, half of Gujin's sky had already collapsed. But the fatal blow was Mo Yanqi's imperial edict. The outer court was gone. The inner palace had betrayed her. Yet none of that was the most deadly strike. What truly nailed Gujin to the pillar of shame was her two good sons. Mo Jing Li, that heartless thing, actually poisoned his own elder brother Mo Yanqi with a slow-acting poison from southern Xinjiang for the sake of the dragon throne. When Mo Yanqi was already gravely ill, Gujin made a decision she would regret for the rest of her life. She went to persuade her eldest son to pass the throne to her younger son. In the original story, Gujin's words, it would be better to pass the throne to Jingli," sounded helpless on the surface, but they were cruel to the extreme. She thought she was considering the empire. She thought she was balancing the relationship between her two sons. But to the dying Mo Yanqi, those words were no different from a death warrant personally handed over by his own mother. "Mother, are you also forcing me to die?" It was almost possible to hear Mo Yanqi's heart breaking. A father poisoned by his own younger brother and forced aside by his own mother. What would he do before death to take revenge? In the original work, the scene where the Empress reads the imperial edict is the climax of the entire story. Mo Yanqi used the last of his strength to appoint the 10th prince as emperor and depose the crown prince. Then, coldly, he added one final command. Gujin was to be buried alive as a sacrificial attendant. With just a few short words, he sentenced his own mother to both spiritual death and physical death. Gujin's scream of "this is impossible" was filled with disbelief and despair. She had thought that the eldest son she had controlled since childhood was a sheep. She never expected that at the very end, he would bite back and tear through her main artery. What was even more tragic came afterward. Gujin placed her final hope on her younger son, Mo Jing Li. She clutched at his robe and begged in tears, asking him to save his mother. She said she did not want to die. She reminded him that she was his mother. But what did Mo Jing Li do? He indifferently pulled his mother's hand away and left without even turning back. He told her that, born into the royal family, even she herself had never believed in flesh and blood affection. Those words were even more devastating than Mo Yanqi's imperial edict. He did not save her. Instead, he poured another handful of salt onto his mother's wound. The meaning was clear. Since this was how she had treated his elder brother back then, she had no right to blame him for treating her the same way now. In the end, Gujin defeated every opponent in the world, but lost to her identity as a mother. Looking back on Gujin's life, she had defeated the concubines of the harem, suppressed the powerful ministers of the previous court, and even once made ruthless figures like Mo Xiu Yao and Ye Li feel that she was difficult to deal with. Yet in the end, she was defeated by her own maternal love, or rather, by the way her excessive greed for power twisted that maternal love beyond recognition. She wanted to control everything too much, including her sons' lives and the ownership of the throne. But she forgot that beneath the dragon throne there are no fathers and sons, and there are no mothers and sons either. She thought Mo Jing Li was her support, but Mo Jing Li personally dug her grave. She thought Mo Yanqi was her puppet, but Mo Yanqi personally nailed down the lid of her coffin. Before absolute power, family affection is often the first piece of glass to shatter. Gujin's tragedy was that she never understood, even until death, that she had not lost to Ye Li's intelligence or Mo Xiu Yao's strategy. She had lost to the two karmic debts called sons, sons into whom she had poured a lifetime of effort, yet whom she had personally pushed toward ruin. In the First Jasmine, Wanzhou trusted Gujin wrongly and died miserably. Ye Li's revenge forced Gujin to lose all power, and the ending was truly satisfying. Among the recent popular dramas, the First Jasmine becomes more suffocating the further it goes. Honestly, the cruelest part of this drama is not who killed whom. It is that the blade handed over by the person you trust most often cuts the deepest. Wanzhou only understood before her death that the person who truly pushed her toward a dead end was not only her cold and heartless husband from the Yi family, nor merely old Madame Yi. It was Gujin, the close friend she had once trusted with all her heart. Later, when Ye Li and Mo Xiu Yao reconciled and joined hands to force Gujin to return political power and lose authority, that became the fiercest counterattack Wanzhou left behind. Gujin's ending had actually been foreshadowed long ago. She caused the crown prince's death, used Zhou Xingquan, schemed against Qinzheng, harmed Su Wanzhou, and wielded Marquis Muyang like a blade. On the surface, she had ruled from above for 8 years, sitting firmly in a high position while the entire court had to watch her expression. In truth, every sincere bond around her had been exhausted by her own hands. A person who tramples old affection into a bloody road will sooner or later fall until their bones are shattered. What makes Ye Li truly heartbreaking is that she carried her guilt toward her mother, while also carrying the blood debt of the Su family. She did not descend the mountain to marry gloriously into Prince Ding's residence. Nor was she simply fighting to vent one breath of anger. She wanted to seek justice for Su Wanzhou, and she also wanted to clear the 8 years of injustice suffered by Prince Ding's residence and the Black Cloud banner. On the surface, she looked calm and sharp. Behind that composure, she was covered in wounds. Marquis Muyang's most poisonous move before death was exposing the truth about Su Wanzhou and the imperial edict to Mo Xiu Yao. He knew very well that Mo Xiu Yao's deepest pain was not how much he himself had suffered. It was the death of his elder brother Mo Xiu, the injustice suffered by the Black Cloud banner, and the years of false accusations. As long as Ye Li's mother was dragged into that old case, a crack would certainly appear between Mo Xiu Yao and Ye Li. Mo Xiu Yao was indeed crushed. When he heard the truth from Ye Li and learned that Su Wanzhou had indeed asked Mo Xiu for the location of the imperial edict back then, it was as if old wounds swallowed him whole. That was not an ordinary misunderstanding. It was 8 years of blood feud suddenly pressing down onto the person he loved. Anyone in his position would have found it difficult to immediately remain clear-headed. The moment Ye Li signed the separation agreement and returned alone to Lishan, it was truly hard to accept. She had thought Mo Xiu Yao would protect her as he always had, refusing to let her face the storm alone. But Mo Xiu Yao was also a living person of flesh and blood. He loved Ye Li, but he could not forget the pain of his elder brother being executed and the Black Cloud banner being slandered. This separation seemed like a victory for Marquis Muyang, but in reality, it became the turning point where Ye Li and Mo Xiu Yao finally saw each other clearly again. After Li Feibai led Mo Xiu Yao to Lishan, Mo Xiu Yao finally learned what Ye Li had truly experienced all these years. All 47 people of Lishan had died from illness. The mountain gate was sealed. The academy was desolate. Only Ye Li remained, living alone among old dreams that filled the mountain. Ye Li was not without pain. She had simply suffered so much that she could no longer face reality. She imagined Qing Shuang was still there. She imagined Master Zhu was still there. She imagined all those familiar people still walking through Lishan as before. When Mo Xiu Yao saw her speaking inside the empty academy, he finally understood that he had only seen the suffering of Prince Ding's residence. He had never truly seen Ye Li's suffering. The person who truly destroyed Su Wanzhou was still Gujin. After the former emperor died, Gujin stirred up the old Eastern Palace situation together with Marquis Muyang and Zhou Xinkuen in order to rise to power. Mo Xiu protected the Black Cloud banner as they entered the capital. The imperial edict in his possession could have proven his innocence and allowed Prince Ding's residence to escape disaster. Mo Xiu originally intended to wait for Lord Hua to return to the capital, then hand over the edict so that someone in court who could speak fairly would have the truth. But Gujin targeted Su Wanzhou's kindness and identity. Su Wanzhou was the daughter of Su Qingyun, the head of Lishan Academy, and she was also Gujin's former close friend. If Su Wanzhou came forward to ask Mo Xiu would not suspect her. Gujin deceived Su Wanzhou by saying that Lord Hua might not be reliable. She told Su Wanzhou to first ask about the location of the edict, then invite Su Qingyun down from the mountain to overturn the case for Prince Ding's residence. Her words sounded beautiful. Every sentence sounded as if she was trying to save people. Su Wanzhou believed her, because she had never imagined that her old friend would turn her trust into a knife. Su Wanzhou did not want to harm Mo Xiu. She genuinely wanted to save him. The most ironic part was that as soon as Su Wanzhou obtained the clue, Gujin ordered Marquis Muyang to force the Ye family to hand over the edict. The Ye family feared being implicated. Ye Wenhua, Ye Wenxin, and old Madame Ye each proved more cold-blooded than the last. The edict was stolen. And Mo Xiu was executed. The Black Cloud banner was branded with the crime of rebellion. Wanzhou was also forced by the Yi family to Jingyi Temple, eventually dying under the shadow of that old case. Gujin did something even more ruthless afterward. She sealed off Lishan and refused to let Su Qingyun descend the mountain. Lishan Academy had once been a place of integrity in the hearts of scholars across the realm. It was also the place where Gujin had once studied and received kindness. For the sake of the throne, she threw away the affection of her school, the affection of her friend, and every old bond she had. Simply put, she was not confused for a moment. She had already chosen power. Qinzheng was luckier than Wanzhou. At least Qinzheng survived long enough to see Gujin clearly. Ye Li made Qinzheng understand that she had been used by Zhou Xingkuen and Gujin. After that, Qinzheng handed over the imperial edict and retreated safely. But Wanzhou never had that chance. She only learned before her death that she had been deceived. She did not even have the chance to defend herself. Back when Gujin arranged for Ye Li to marry Mo Xiu Yao, she did not have good intentions either. She wanted to control a descendant of Lishan. She wanted to suppress Prince Ding's residence. She also wanted to leave behind a future method to drive a wedge between Ye Li and Mo Xiu Yao. On the surface, Ye Li's marriage seemed like a humiliation arranged by Gujin on a whim. In truth, it hid Gujin's usual calculation. She believed that all human hearts could be manipulated by her. Before his death, Marquis Muyang did one final thing for Gujin. He deliberately told Mo Xiu Yao that Wanzhou had deceived Mo Xiu and taken away the imperial edict. On the surface, it looked like revenge against Ye Li. At its core, it was also a way of clearing the path for Gujin. As long as Mo Xiu Yao and Ye Li turned against each other, chaos would arise within Prince Ding's residence, and Gujin would have one fewer major threat. Even at the end, Marquis Muyang was still serving Gujin's game. But what Marquis Muyang did not expect was that this attempt at division would ultimately help Mo Xiu Yao and Ye Li instead. After experiencing separation, reunion at Lishan, and the truth behind the tragedy, the two of them finally saw clearly that the person they should hate was not each other. Wanzhou had made mistakes, but she had also been a victim who was used. Ye Li carried guilt, but she had never lied about her own heart. When Mo Xiu Yao stood beside Ye Li again, that was the scene Gujin least wanted to see. She had wanted Wanzhou's old debt to tear them apart. She never expected them to hold hands again amid the devastation of Lishan. The hatred of Prince Ding's residence, the blood of Lishan, and Wanzhou's injustice all ultimately pointed toward Gujin. With the help of Mo Xiu Yao and Ye Li, the young emperor Mo Yanqi reclaimed the court. Gujin was forced to hand over power. She had once relied on sacrificing others to climb into a high position. In the end, she was devoured by the consequences she had planted years ago. Mo Jing Li's coup was more like another reckoning for Gujin's sins. Looking back on Wanzhou's life, she misjudged her husband Yuanhua, and she also misjudged her close friend Gujin. Her kindness was exploited. Her trust became the opening that killed loyal people. But before her death, she told Ye Li to go to the execution ground to find Mo Xiu, and she also told Ye Li to seek refuge with Prince Ding's residence in the future. That step became the most important path of survival she left for her daughter. By this point in the First Jasmine, Gujin loses all power, Marquis Muyang pays with his life, and Ye Li and Mo Xiu Yao stand side by side once more. Wanzhou's long-delayed injustice finally receives an answer. In this life, the most frightening thing is not misjudging someone. It is giving your sincerity to a person with the heart of a wolf. Gujin seemed to have won for 8 years, but in truth, she lost every old affection she had and the rest of her life.